Hi everyone, this is Aslihan and I'm a publishing manager at Coda platform. Today I'll be talking about how to 10x your ideation with automated game concept discovery. This may sound a little bit confusing at the moment, but don't worry, the idea is actually very simple, and I'll do my best to make sure you leave my presentation with a crystal clear idea. So first off, let me introduce Coda to anyone who doesn't know. Coda platform is a hyper-casual game publisher who takes a complete database approach from ideation throughout the entire lifetime of a game. We take automation in the heart of the publishing process in basically what we do. More will come on Coda and automation, but I will minimize my screen and my face so you can actually focus on what is more important. So here we go. Yes. All right. So why did I choose to talk about automation today? Not because all other topics have already been taken, but automation is one of the core things you can actually have control over, and what's even better, it delivers measurable, predictable results, unlike many other things in the process in which you do your homework, you develop your game and hope for the best. But with automation, if implemented in the right places, it does your job better than you do. As everyone constantly talks about, even multiple times at this conference as well, the recipe for success is try, fail, maybe 100 times before you succeed, and do it as fast as you can. If you are in hyper casual, you live by the statement, you breathe this every day. But what is not so bad about it is that it applies to everyone. I mean, this is the nature of the business. That is exactly why the publishers always look for ways to speed up, to automate, to even revolutionize their processes. And this is indeed quite healthy for the industry, both for the developers, for the publishers, like for all of us. We can collectively produce better games much faster. If you're gonna fail, better to fail early and move on, because in every step of the way, you'll have a much higher chance of failure than success. Well, as Coda, this is where we're coming from as well. The idea of investing in automating everything you can, so you free human power for what? For better management, for higher creativity, so that you actually have time to deep dive into more impactful work. How much of the publishing process indeed has been and can be automated today? I'll talk about the main stages of the publishing process and how the industry as well as Coda is doing with the automation. But if you noticed, I put the ideation at last in this list, which you may think should have come first, but it is the dessert of my talk, so it will be my final topic. So let's start with the self-serve testing platform. One of the areas commonly offered among publishers is the self-serve testing opportunity. Well, developers are now able to upload their games or captivating gameplay videos to self-service platforms. Once and if approved, the test is set up automatically, run for a period designated differently by each publisher, and the key determining results, mostly CTI, CPI, IPM, are transparently shared right on the platform itself. But this is an excellent setup, as a lot of you will agree. I am personally a big fan of this process as well, because if you all agree that this is a numbers game, you should be able to test and figure out the potential of as many games in the shortest amount of time as possible. And imagine this entire first stage testing process takes then 2 days. Well, provided the testing period is 1 day, which is the case at Coda. And here in our company, we use this self-serve testing platform both externally and internally. All creatives, either produced in-house or submitted by the developers, are uploaded to Coda platform, and it takes care of the rest. And let us know when the results are in, at which point we come in as the publishing managers and the rest of the team and make a more impactful contribution of strategizing the next steps, well, if any. Creative production. Well, this part is a little bit more tricky when it comes to automation. The process itself, though, is partially automated thanks to some amazing tools in the market. However, the power of human creativity is unique, and we do need humans to color outside the lines, try and test the craziest ideas and an algorithm may fail to come up with. I mean, this is the current thinking and belief, but obviously we have to wait and see what the future holds for us. Publisher SDKs, well, they're a vital part of the publishing process if you work with a publisher, as it saves an enormous amount of time and effort by streamlining the process and the very same steps you have to take every time you make your game ready for test. Even though what each SDK offers changes from one publisher to another, the common benefit is the higher speed and accuracy wrapped in a unified approach. The ones you see in the list are some of the most common features offered in publisher SDKs. And as you guessed it, all offered by Coda SDK, and I would like to add a few further notes on it. The core feature of Coda SDK is bundling of all third-party SDKs into one, and you manage all of them from one place. A few examples to those platforms are Facebook, Game Analytics, Firebase, Adjust, Mopub, Amazon, you name it. And you know, this means that the only SDK integration a developer has to be concerned about is the Coda SDK integration. And in that, there is not really much to be concerned about, because in many projects, it takes less than 24 hours. Because like how many lines of code you need to integrate for that is as few as 28. And once done, you're able to do all these in the list, and you save days of work. Our goal moving forward on this front is to shorten this process further for all projects we manage. When we talk about the publisher SDKs, also the benefit for the publisher, well, again, hands directly for the developer, is that all data is collected and accurately analyzed for us. So this means instead of checking each platform separately to understand how a particular game performs, we go to one dashboard that tells us all we need, and we only, again, worry about the strategy moving forward. User acquisition automation. I'm aware this is a concern for publishers more so than the developers, but I believe as many publishers will agree with me, this lies in the very core of what we bring to the table as a publisher. You have a game, you have tested it enough to validate its potential, you looked at the CPI, the cost, the retention, playtime, and on the monetization front, you looked at the ARPUs, imp values, LTV, the lifetime value, and now you decided that it's time to scale it to millions and all around the world. But how do you optimize this to make sure you target the right audience, right time of the day even, right countries and regions, and by doing all of that, you keep your cost at minimum, so your game generates profit at the maximum. And this requires a true expertise and experience, and unfortunately mostly managed far from optimal. And again, many publishers obviously have different ways of putting their UA expertise into good use, but unless you have an automated process, this requires an immense amount of time and unfortunately allows for undesired human error. At Coda, you guessed it right, we have a fully automated in-house developed machine that optimizes UA processes up to 95%. Do you know what this means? Our UA team spends only 5% of their valuable time in managing this process, and the rest in finding the best creators for your game. Well, I'll give a few examples that we all can relate to and understand. So this machine I'm talking about can almost instantly and automatically calculate the optimum bit for each country, each network, and each game. Well, in human terms, this means looking after 10,000 bits a day across 150 countries and between 100 and 200 networks in each country. I know some of you will be familiar with this process already. Most companies do it for the USA market, but imagine when this is scaled up to all relevant countries, how much time you can save and how much more you can make with your game. Well, we all know how challenging publishing a game is and can be, and as you developers, you put your sweat, tears, and blood in it, and when we finally do publish it, it is vital to make sure you get the most out of your great game. Okay, I have talked about the automation of the testing process, in-depth analysis through specialized SDKs and automated user acquisition processes, but I haven't mentioned the very first stage where you have nothing but only a strong desire to make a successful game. What do you need to start off? An idea, obviously. Okay, well, how far do you think you can go and automate even the ideation process? Well, there are quite exciting developments happening in the industry today we will all benefit from. I have recently read about a tool in its beta testing, and by using close to 1 million games in its database, it returns new game ideas to you based on your keywords and based on the successful games in the past. This is a thrilling development, and I'm sure it has the potential to actually revolutionize the game industry. And Coda too believes this is the way to go. Since the inception of the company, we have been trying to optimize ways to understand the hyper-casual market. What is popular, what new games and ideas are out, how the popular games performs. Well, obviously all this information is publicly available across dozens of platforms scattered in all verticals. So it's actually an ocean. You can easily get lost and drawn in. So we said, okay, let's start with first putting all this information, all this relevant information into one place in a meaningful and useful way. And we actually haven't stopped there. We said, you know what, let's build a community and let's share this intelligence with the world. So what is actually on Coda platform? I would say anything and everything hyper-casual related. So, if you go sign up, you're going to see the latest releases both to App Store and the Google Play Store. It can automatically tag mechanics and genres to group them and show as similar titles. You are able to see download data for scaled games, and it is free. Well, basically, in a nutshell, it shows a complete journey of a successful game as well, from release to the store all the way up to the top charts. Currently, we have tens of thousands of users who come to this open platform and capitalize on this insightful data. If you aren't using it already, go ahead, sign up for free, and don't be late for the party. There is another thing that I would like to mention at this point, more from a different and futuristic perspective. Well, we are building this massive, ever-growing database of games now. And imagine what could be possible to do with it moving forward. We ponder this question a lot and already have strong and exciting ideas for the not so distant future. You're going to learn about them hopefully soon, but I won't get into details now. However, what I do want to talk about is one of the fairly recent initiatives we have, the Coda concept stores. We have done our homework, also asked many developers what they want from a publisher. Do you know what they all said? Well, money. But we knew that, and everyone offers that already. So we asked the second most important thing to them, and it was the actionable data they can use when ideating. So the concept store idea was born, and the idea is very simple. We scanned the market. We identify the latest trends, what everyone talks about, what everyone wants to play, what everyone is interested in, and test these with our in-house built algorithm to discover what shows an early promise. We use various sources, again, the stores, the gaming platforms, even social media, and the algorithm informs us when there's a high marketability concept. What is a high marketability concept? In Coda's terms, it is a game idea with a CPI of less than 20 cents, an IPM which is sort of installed per 1,000, 30 plus. We know how difficult to achieve these results when we test your game. So when actually we find ideas and games, with this data, we share them with our partner studios, and they use them for inspiration as a starting point for their own game concept. And even though, well, we have been trying this for some time, but we have been using this method in a systematic way for the past several months only. Any idea how much the ideation process has improved? Well, it's 10 times. Hence the title of my talk. Well, this means that the games that are developed based on the concept store have 10 times more chance to hit 20 cent CPI benchmark compared to the games with no similar data behind. So normally what happens is you come up with a great game idea and you so strongly believe that everyone will love it, everyone will play it, and it's going to be the best game ever developed, and you start. You put days or weeks, in some cases months, in developing it, and finally when it is time to test to see if other people agree with you, more than, unfortunately, 95% of the time your game fails. Because in this setup, the numbers come after, and actually data is all you rely on. So we try to reverse this process and put the numbers first, and this is what happened. So this is what we offered in the scope of Coda Partner Program. Honestly, it's still new, but we are beyond excited about this program, and we have all the right reasons to put a large pool of resources to improve it, to boost the studio performance, to bring to life more successful games. So overall, I reckon we are going to see more of what I talked about today. More automation, higher efficiency, higher speed, more fun games around, but also more competition, which is not a bad thing at all. It pushes everyone to do what they do better. And before closing off, my final words on behalf of Coda. We are still a young company. We are learning. We are growing together with our data, and I want to emphasize on this. We have made mistakes like everyone else, but we're learning from them and using this learning to become better. And we invite those studios who want to learn and grow with us, who share our vision for data-first approach to come join us. Thank you everyone for listening.